Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and Tim Canova finally got together for a debate because Debbie Wasserman-Schultz finally agreed to it, and it just happened this past Sunday. Did you catch it? Did you catch the debate?
Actually, I had to work on Sunday morning, but what time was that debate?
The debate was Sunday morning at 8 o'clock a.m.
Tim Canova must have set that up.
You know he did. You know he did.
Yeah.
This was a Canova schedule.
It sounds like something Canova would do.
That doesn't sound anything like what Debbie Wasserman-Schultz would do. Because you remember the Democratic debates?
Those were all scheduled at, the best times.
Opportune times, right? During football games and, great.
Playoff games.
Yeah. I really did try to catch it. But again, Sunday morning, 8 o'clock? Nah. I wasn't waking up.
If you ask,
I just didn't do it.
If you ask 100 people randomly, what would be the worst time to schedule a debate? Pretty sure most of them would say Sunday morning.
Just fill in the blank, right?
Fill in the blank. Have you ever seen anything good on TV on Sunday morning?
Like some new stuff.
Yeah, some new stuff.
Not reruns, some new stuff.
But
new programming.
Maybe the logic was, since there's nothing on TV, they'll watch the debate.
Or there's nobody going to be watching anything on TV at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So, of course, this was a Debbie Wasserman-Schultz plot. This is what she wanted to do. We saw what she wanted to do during the Democratic debate. She wanted to hide them, and she wanted to hide this debate too. Thankfully, it was recorded, so we're going to be talking about a few of the things that they were talking about during the debate. First of all, we want to talk about the DNC leak. That was broached very early on. It was the first thing that they discussed. And they talked about the leak and about the email that was questioning whether they should attack Bernie Sanders about his faith. So let's show you that clip first.
Not only have I condemned the exchange in that email, I share Bernie Sanders' faith and would never condone anyone suggesting that we question or strategize about questioning someone's faith. In fact, in that email exchange, a staffer apparently specifically said that they knew the chairwoman would not be okay with that, which I absolutely wouldn't have been. So I absolutely condemn and condemned that email exchange, and that person is no longer working for the DNC.
But what does it say that they were able to do that? That they would even feel free enough to send an email like that? Well, is that the culture you created there?
Of course not.
She condemns it. She condemned that email about the probable attacking of Bernie Sanders' faith.
Well, she kind of condemned it because later on she called some of these actions incidental, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't seem like she's taking personal responsibility, full responsibility.
What's interesting is that she said that this staffer is no longer working for the DNC.
Didn't she have to step down too?
She resigned.
How she resigned? But how can she point out that the staffers in question
is no longer employed by the DNC?
But she isn't either.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, why did you step down, Debbie? You had to have something to do with this. If she was,
but guess what? Essentially admitting that they were discharged and pointing that out kind of points to some sort of internal collusion, right? And my thing is, are we really going to believe that some of these staffers took it upon themselves to sabotage Bernie's campaign without guidance?
Unilaterally. Yeah, they just made a decision by themselves.
Without guidance from other DNC leadership?
Right.
Come on.
And it didn't even have to be directly Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, but it could have been somebody that was directed by Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. It could have moved down the chain.
And then she mentioned something about Russian espionage.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
About the leaks.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. First, let's get to her opinion about her time as the chair of the Democratic National Committee.
I'm very proud of my tenure at the Democratic National Committee. When the President of the United States asks you to do anything, it is a tremendous honor, especially when you've been asked by the President to watch his back, help bring him across the finish line. I was a key part of helping President Obama get reelected in 2012, and the work we did to prepare for Hillary Clinton to be our nominee and then make sure that we could get her elected president is absolutely critical to advancing the issues that are important.
I just want to say on WikiLeaks.
I think the DWS 3000 Model C suffered from a glitch. A major
she told the
glitch.
truth again.
Yeah, I think.
Did y'all catch that?
She was infected with honesty malware.
Remember she talked about the superdelegates months ago, right?
Yeah.
Told the truth about that. What'd you call it? Kneecapping?
Kneecapping grassroots.
So this time, she says, the work we did to prepare for Hillary Clinton to be our nominee.
Yo, she should have did a Control-Alt-Delete and just shut down.
The work we did.
Because she glitched, man. I don't think she realized she did that.
So in essence, she's saying the work we did to install Hillary Clinton as the nominee and then president.
And then she's been saying over and over again that her work at the DNC has remained impartial. We just covered that too. She had that interview with the Sun Sentinel editorial board, which she said she was impartial.
They're just completely wrong. We were neutral in this primary. We ran the primary. I ran the primary nominating contest exactly by the book.
So now she's saying can't be on purpose. This can't be on purpose. But she is in essence saying that, look, we were not impartial. We actively worked to get Hillary Clinton to be given the nomination of the Democratic Party. Wow, Debbie. Wow. Gotta love your honesty. Got to love the honesty.
I don't think that was a part of the
that wasn't in the script.
That wasn't in the script. That wasn't in the protocol.
She must have lost the feed in her ear.
Yeah.
She must have lost it. And then when it came out, I was like, no. What are you doing? That's honesty.
She glitched. She glitched. There's going to be an exception report coming after this.
So let's get to what you were talking about. We're going to get to the Russian
espionage.
Yeah. So this is her comments or her thoughts about the DNC leak in general.
The DNC suffered a 21st century Watergate. We were the victims of Russian espionage, who stole private emails and our data and then gave them to the organization.
But it wouldn't make it, you're not suggesting that if they were just kept secret that those emails would be okay.
Well, no, what I'm suggesting is that it likes Sony, who suffered the same fate, and that, we have had a lot of cyber attacks and an increase. There's no organization that when their private emails faced the bright hot spotlight, private emails are just that, private emails. But of course, let me just...
Russian espionage.
No, and then most importantly, we were victims. We were victims.
She tried to lump this situation in with the Sony hack.
Sony Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
Sony DNC.
Is that anything like is that anywhere near the same?
I mean, Sony, they deal with music. They put out rock stars.
Yeah, pictures, movies and stuff.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of what the DNC did. This has been like a feature film.
Yeah, it was
starring Hillary Clinton. I guess it's similar.
There has been no investigative report that has linked the Russians to this leak. Okay, Julian Assange said that it did not come from Russia. It did not come from Russia. It was a leak. He's not citing the sources.
And what the moderator was suggesting was, like, me and you, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like what is in the email should be of greater importance.
The substance of the emails, not where it came from. But she's acting like we're living in Cold War times.
I don't.
Russian spies.
I don't care if it came from the Borg. I really don't.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But she doesn't seem to understand that, or she doesn't care to understand it, or project that she does understand that. She wants, like you said, she wants to be the victim.
She ain't stupid.
Any organization, what she said, any organization that has their private emails released, it's going to be a bad look. No, that doesn't have to be true. That doesn't have to be true.
No. Not if your organization is on the up and up.
Yeah.
But
all right.
If your organization is working to kneecap somebody else's campaign,
exactly,
it's gonna look bad.
Yeah, it's gonna look real bad.
Yeah.
Just like it did. So this is Tim Canova's feelings about the DNC leak.
What I found most troubling in the WikiLeaks disclosures was actually the discussion about the email from the Congresswoman to Chuck Todd asking that Mika Brzezinski of Morning Joe give an apology. I think that's this kind of, and it's a pattern. On May 18th, there were 2 staffers of the DNC that were talking about suppressing a story on MSNBC as well. I just think this doesn't show a real commitment to free speech and open discussion.
My specific response is that we have an election that is going to be decided in the next 2 weeks, and it will be decided and should be decided not on the content of private emails that were stolen by Russian spies, but on who is best suited and the most prepared and has the most experience to represent this district and be their voice.
So you see what she did there, right? Again with the Russian spies thing. But you see what she did, right? Yeah. Miss Evasive. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz playing dodgeball. Can't catch me. She didn't even answer the question. I mean, like, she didn't even answer, or she didn't even respond to what Tim Canova said, what was most troublesome about the leak to him. And that was the thing about Mika Brzezinski and seeking an apology and stuff like that. She didn't respond to that. She says, no, look, you all need to forget my corruptive ways, all of that. You really need to look at, if I'm strong on Social Security, if I'm a
strong voice for Israel.
Yeah, like it takes a lot of strength to do that.
Nah, exactly.
Everybody does that, right? It would be a strong position to actually advocate for Palestinians. Now that would be strong.
Because doesn't Canova seek a compromise in that situation?
Yeah. Well. But anyway, but she doesn't want to pay attention to her corruptive ways.
But are you surprised though? Because essentially that's the way that she and the DNC want us to look at Hillary too, right. And Hillary Clinton supporters.
That's right. Forget about the things that are most troublesome about her.
I know that stuff is bad. I know that stuff looks bad. I know all this stuff.
But I fight for you. I'm on your side.
Exactly.
Forget that I kicked this baby over here.
I think it's
look at everything else.
Exactly. It's a matter of trust. Yeah. All that stuff that Canova mentioned speaks to her trust.
Exactly. And why would we trust you when we see what you do behind the scenes?
She's like trying to say, it's like me being like a real abusive dude, like to my girlfriend, and be like, hey, I know I'm abusive and I just, smash your face every day, but I make a mean omelet. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, again, she's supposed to ignore all this other stuff.
That makes no sense.
No.
So we're not going to just turn a blind eye to your corruption, Debbie, and we hope that the voters in Florida do not as well, even though you seek for them to do that. We hope they don't. So now we're going to get to the moderator, this guy, Jim DeFeedy. So he asked Canova about him being a Democrat. Because he's calling into question how long he's been a Democrat.
You've only registered as a Democrat in the last year. You're running for the Democratic primary in this case. Why have you only joined the party in less than 12 months?
If I may correct you, I'll say this. I've been a registered Democrat for longer than Debbie Wasserman-Schultz has. I was working on Capitol Hill for Paul Tsongas, the late U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, as a legislative aide when my opponent was still in high school. I've been a registered Democrat for more years. It is true that I registered independent for one election cycle, and quite frankly, it was from dissatisfaction with this Democratic Party. A feeling, please, the Congresswoman has spoken for a while. It was a feeling that the Democratic Party had moved away from me. It had become much more corporate dominated, quite frankly, under the Congresswoman's leadership at the DNC. And I felt a frustration that millions of people around this country have felt with the Democratic Party. And I'm very proud that I made a decision to re-register Democrat and to fight for the Democratic Party.
So see, what bothers me about that is, look, this is a local CBS affiliate. This is a local CBS channel in Florida. With the staff, okay? Are you telling me that this moderator, Jim DeFeedy, or nobody else at the channel, nobody knew what Tim Canova's past was? Nobody knew that he was a Democrat before he had registered as an independent. Nobody knew that.
And you know, my position is Tim doesn't have to apologize for that.
No.
And I don't really care what he was registered as. Like, what? Why does that even matter?
Because, you know, they want somebody with this loyalty to the Democratic Party. I'm a loyal Democrat.
And then what did Debbie say later on?
That she's a loyal
I'm a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoopity.
I think that's a negative.
Exactly. Like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
You being a lifelong party member to Democrats,
yeah.
It honestly doesn't speak too much.
I think really, actually, the chances, if you're a lifelong Democrat, the chances of you being corrupted are probably greater than somebody that's not a lifelong Democrat.
Like, obviously, you know, why would Tim Canova seek to run as an independent when he was already a Democrat?
He spelled it out. Dissatisfaction with the party, it had moved away from him. It became more corporatist. Are any of those lies?
That was a kind of a direct point made to highlight Debbie Wasserman-Schultz's corporate affiliations, she later on, which the moderator later on asked Tim Canova, well, can you prove that, you know, any of the money that she's getting influences her decisions? I was like, you don't have to. They're not giving this money for no reason. I was like, we're not stupid.
Right. And actually, that's what we're going to get to right now. He asked Tim Canova about, you know, Wasserman-Schultz being bought, and this was his response.
For her entire career, she has raised millions of dollars from the largest corporations and Wall Street banks. Even this year, she's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars through a political action committee. She's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from the wealthiest contributions, $2,000 or more. And she's got a super PAC that's spending crazy, like mad right now on her behalf. She's very tied to these corporate interests. I don't have a single corporate political action committee that has contributed to me. I think her politics have shifted a lot over the years. I think when she was first elected many years ago to the State House, she was a much more progressive and liberal. Now she's just liberal and not as progressive.
Congresswoman?
You know, I'm very proud of the support that I've had, that I've been able to attract throughout my entire career. What I'm also very proud of is that I have been a strong supporter of public campaign financing for all campaigns for my entire career. I'm a co-sponsor of a constitutional amendment that would overturn Citizens United, which was the worst, and I agree with President Obama, that was the worst Supreme Court decision ever handed down. It has allowed far too much corporate influence when it comes to, you know, providing contributions for candidates. We should make sure that the playing field is more level, and I have consistently supported that view.
Don't believe you, Debbie. I don't believe you. Just like Hillary Clinton, I don't believe you. When you talk about Citizens United, all I hear is there's no substance whatsoever.
Yeah, because what they're saying with their mouth doesn't match up with what they're doing with their hands.
Exactly. They have all of this rhetoric that, you know, we should, you know, that we would kind of agree with. That, oh yeah, you're strong against Citizens United. You're pushing for an amendment. You want that overturned.
She had the nerve.
We like that rhetoric.
She had the nerve to say, you know, something about corporate influence on elections. Are you serious?
Like, what were you saying earlier? Like, they don't give the money for no reason. We know it's bribery. We know it's bribery. They don't do it for nothing.
We don't have to see like a note.
No, we don't have to.
It says like, hey, do you want this money? You know, and do some favors for us? Check yes or no. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like these people, it's like they request of us that we have audio or visual of a politician and a donor saying, well, here's your money. Here's the briefcase right here. This is so that you vote for whatever I want done. And then the politician says, okay, I will vote for that. I will do this.
Without that, there's no evidence of corruption.
So it's not bribery then. Since we don't have it on audio or videotape, it's not bribery. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz has super PACs, just like Hillary Clinton. To speak out against Citizens United is the ultimate hypocrisy. You can't say that it was the worst decision handed down by the Supreme Court and then reap the benefits of it at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, this is real bad, but this is working out well for me right now.
And now that we've won, let's get rid of it.
Exactly. That doesn't make. Come on, man. We're not that stupid.
No.
I mean, well, some people are. Some people are. And I believe there are a lot of people in that district too, because that district favors the establishment. You know, Hillary Clinton won it by a wide margin. We hope that this debate and just, you know, national awareness of Tim Canova, you know, we hope that, you know, people see what Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is, and especially with this DNC leak.
That's why that's why Bernie
on.
Sanders supports Tim Canova.
Yeah, to this day. And I hope, you know, that primary is on the August 30th. Mm-hmm. So I hope you know, I hope he pulls an upset and, you know, oust her from Congress. But let's get to a few more issues that they talked about. This one is about private prisons. Surprise, surprise, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz supports private prisons.
One of the issues that your opponent has raised was your support in 2011, and I think we have actually the letter that you and Senator Bill Nelson signed supporting the for-profit prison to be built in Southwest Ranches. Was that support in 2011 a mistake?
First of all, let's be clear on what that center was. That was an immigration detention center. It was not a prison. And so I know but there's a big difference between an immigration detention center and a prison. There are prisons all the way out.
But it was a for-profit entity that was going to run it.
That was actually sought by the town of Southwest Ranches. The town of Southwest Ranches supported and made the arrangements with that company to locate a immigration detention center. They had an agreement with ICE and with the company that was going to build that center.
You then later came out opposed to it, correct?
Let me be clear. I was doing what I always do, which is when I have a municipality come to me and ask me for my help. You know, of course, we take a look at that issue very carefully, and we do what we can to facilitate their request.
Was it a mistake to send that letter, in hindsight?
No, it wasn't a mistake to be able to try to assist. This was an important economic driver. Southwest Ranches, let's keep in mind, has almost no commercial tax base. They only have about 7,000 people that live in Southwest Ranches, and so this was an opportunity for them to be able to generate revenue and also have a low impact.
I need to bring him in, then we need to take a break. Go ahead.
I would like to.
Low impact facility like a detention center.
Let me bring him in.
Which was not going to house criminals.
Let me bring him in. Go ahead.
I would like to get a word in edgewise at this point. It was a bad decision, and for-profit prisons and for-profit detention centers are not a good idea. Florida leads the country in for-profit detention centers and prisons. We should not have a permanent lobby that has an incentive to be locking folks up.
Mm-hmm. Yup. Yeah, she went there. First, let me apologize, because I said that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz supports private prisons. She cleared that up for me. She doesn't support private prison. She supports
private detention centers.
Right.
Yes, make that clear.
Yeah, we got to make that clear. But you heard what she said, right?
Wait. You need to repeat what she just said. You need to repeat what she just said.
Basically, she said that the town doesn't really have a good way of making money.
So,
you know, a good way of doing that is to establish a privately run.
Gotta generate some revenue.
Yeah, detention center.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you incentivize locking people up, there's no corruption.
But what do you call a facility that detains people that generates revenue? What do you call that? What do you call it? It's called for-profit.
That sounds like a prison, but I don't know. She said detention center. So,
but the moderator said, well, it's run by a private entity when you know she tried to say it wasn't.
Yeah,
and she knows she got caught, so she was like, well, the people wanted it.
See,
then that's when she went into the whole economic issue of the town and tried to cater to that.
Right.
Notice that?
She tried. Notice what she did. She tried to toe the line there, because she wouldn't say that the letter that she wrote was a mistake, But she calls out private prisons too, because Tim Canova said no, it's not a good use, or it's not good for our society to have private prisons and private detention.
And then in the background,
centers. She's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. But if you agree, then why were you such an advocate for this particular detention center?
And why would you say that the letter was not a mistake? But then you say that you're against private prisons. She tries to toe the line so as not to offend anybody, because she needs all the support she can get. And when I mean all the support, I mean the support of the people that run these private facilities as well.
Oh, you mean like all the money that she
like
gets?
Corporate money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but why would they support her, right? No quid pro quo.
There's nothing there.
No bribery
I didn't see like visually.
Yeah, you didn't hear it either.
No, I didn't.
So it's like
this exchange
it didn't even happen.
No,
didn't even happen. Okay. So lastly, we're gonna get to the subject of marijuana and their, difference of opinions on the subject. So first, this is what Tim Canova feels about marijuana.
What drugs are you talking about that you'd be open to decriminalizing?
Well, certainly marijuana. That's the one that is sweeping this country in some states. I do think voters should decide that issue themselves.
What about other drugs like heroin or crack or methamphetamine?
I'll say even hard drugs like that should really be treated as a public health issue. It doesn't make sense to be taking addicts and locking them up and not treating the illness itself.
So you'd be okay if a community wanted to decriminalize a hard drug like heroin, that's their decision?
Well, I think we need to have a national policy on some of the hard drugs to make sure that we have the funds to treat it as a public health issue. And this has been the trend in many states, not just to decriminalize marijuana, but to try to start treating heroin addiction and cocaine addiction as public health issues. It doesn't make sense to be locking folks up for this.
Total agreement with his position. I mean, there's nothing that I really need to add. I mean, we shouldn't be locking up people for their addictions to drugs. I mean, that seems like common sense to me.
Yeah, but it didn't seem like common sense to Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, though.
Right. Yeah.
2 years ago, you opposed and criticized the medical marijuana initiative that was on the ballot. Are you supporting the current initiative that's on the ballot?
Well, I look at this issue as from the standpoint of being a mom and a cancer survivor. Certainly as a mom, and I have 3 teenagers, so I want to make sure that that when we take a look at how we deal with marijuana policy, and I also support decriminalization. I don't think that we should be locking up people for small amounts of marijuana. Certainly dealers of large amounts of drugs should face prison time, but we need to make sure that we are investing in drug rehabilitation programs and diversionary programs.
But this medical marijuana initiative, are you supporting it?
And then as a cancer survivor, and I've talked to many cancer patients and parents of cancer patients. My friend Elaine Geller lost her daughter to cancer, and she benefited from the use of medical marijuana. But I'm continuing to take a look. The concern that I had in the last election was that, I'm glad to see that the supporters and the sponsors of that amendment have tightened it up a little bit to address some of the concerns about prior loopholes. We want to make sure that people who truly need it have the ability to get access to it.
What is it that you're waiting for before determining? Because it seems some people will accuse you of not wanting to state an opinion before your election for fear of alienating John Morgan or others who may come out against you.
I just recently voted to make sure that veterans have the ability to get access to medical marijuana. So I have a public position. I support the use of evidence-based medical marijuana, and I'm glad to see the Obama administration just made a decision to allow for more research to be done. I share President Obama's opinion that we need more research to make sure that medical marijuana is evidence-based so that we can make sure
you
it can
support
release
medical
suffering.
marijuana as well.
I do. I support it.
What I don't support is legalizing drugs like heroin and other hard drugs. That's not responsible. It's dangerous.
Do you think what he was suggesting is irresponsible?
I think suggesting that legalizing hard drugs like heroin and methamphetamines is not a public health issue by any means.
I'll give you a chance to respond to that.
There's a difference between legalization and decriminalization, and anyone who's been involved in the drug reform movement knows this. And what I'm saying is it shouldn't be criminalized. We should not be putting addicts in prison. That's very different from saying legalize the entire trade.
Again, man, she won't come with a firm position, Like even the moderator was saying, what are you waiting on? You know, some people will say that you don't really want to upset the people that's supporting you, right? I wonder why. And
then, like, she pretty much conflated legalization and decriminalization.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Decriminalizing. It doesn't take a seasoned politician that dives into policy every day and terminology to know the difference between decriminalizing and legalization.
Like Canova said.
I mean, well, he said making sure we have the funds to treat it as a public health issue.
That's instead of locking people up.
Tell like people like you're wasting taxpayer money.
Right.
But if you decriminalize it, then people will probably, not be back in the same system.
Right.
These, private prison systems that she benefits from.
Right.
So maybe she don't even know what decriminalization means.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm sure she
her
does.
pocketbook doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
And she even said it herself too. You remember she was like, yeah, she supports decriminalization of marijuana, but no, the dealers should still be jailed.
Does that even make sense?
That doesn't make any sense, because if it's not a crime then why would dealers
why
be
would it be illegal to sell it if using it is not a crime? That doesn't
make any sense.
That doesn't even make any sense.
That's dumb.
That's
what I would call dumb.
That's like if, possessing or drinking alcohol was illegal.
Yeah.
But yet it was still legal for grocery stores and bars to sell it.
No, come on, that defies logic.
Doesn't make any sense.
And see, okay, and let's go back to how she started off. She started off by saying, well, I have to address this thing as a mother of teenage kids and as a cancer survivor, right? Who the hell cares if you're a mother or a cancer survivor when we're talking about marijuana? What
you know what she's trying to get at? She's trying to say that if it becomes legal, then my children as well as your children will be more apt to do it because it's legal.
And that's entirely false.
Yeah.
Because, see, if you make it legal, you're going to remove the stigma. You also remove the dealers, too, right? Because anybody can put up a storefront like they have in, like, Colorado, right? Mm-hmm. You can put up a storefront and sell it legally, right? So you're going to remove the crime aspect, the turf wars and stuff like that.
You're going to remove possible issues of, bad product and contamination. Kind of like the same thing with that alcohol prohibition did.
Yes.
Most are making alcohol and all kinds of stuff in their bathrooms and tubs, man.
Mm-hmm. But we know that especially youngsters kind of are drawn to things that are taboo.
Provocative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We know that.
Things that are provocative.
But if they aren't taboo anymore, if they aren't provocative, then it's not like, it's going to be like, well, why should I do that?
But again, she's kind of suggesting this logic that, everything that's legal, people just do.
Ridiculous.
Like, are you a gymnast?
Nah.
Do you cut backflips all the time?
Nah, not at all.
So wouldn't it be legal for you to go and get your ladder from the backyard, go climb up on the roof, and then say, I'm about to do some backflips because it's legal?
off the top of the house,
because it's legal, right?
Yeah.
I don't see no laws against doing backflips off your house that just makes me want to do it.
Right. I've heard that riding a motorcycle is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. The open road, wind in your face and everything. I've heard it's a lot of fun, but it's also dangerous. I've never rode a motorcycle before because I don't want to. I think it's dangerous and I don't want to cut short my life. That's just me though. That's just me. But I made an adult decision to not do that.
Basically, you're saying it's about making decisions.
That is what it's about.
So her being a mother, it should have to do with that.
Right.
But
it seems like she doesn't trust her parenthood.
Well,
or her children's decision making.
I mean,
skills.
is drinking toilet water legal? Do her children drink toilet water? Is she worried about that? Because if it's legal, they'll do it.
It's dumb. As far as she wants to go is medical marijuana. She doesn't want, and see, this is the problem. This is the problem, okay?
Yeah.
If you are a proponent of alcohol being legal and tobacco being legal, then you are full of it. If you are not a proponent of marijuana being legal, probably the most damaging product is alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
And tobacco.
And tobacco.
But specifically alcohol.
Specifically alcohol. And
not,
there would still
not just in regards to like vehicular concerns, but health concerns.
Exactly. And it would still be like if people are thinking about the crime aspect and drinking while driving or drinking while impaired by marijuana, that would still be against the law because we know that it slows down your reactions and stuff like that. Nobody wants people out, driving a car, being high. No, I don't want that either. There should be a penalty for that.
I think they're trying to present this whole decriminalization and essentially legalization of marijuana as something that's going to come without any conditions at all.
Yeah. Oh, it's just free for all now. Oh, everybody do what you want. Come in the restaurant. Go to your kid's school. Smoke it up. No, that's not how it is at all. But see, like I said, she only wants to go to medical marijuana because, she has interest.
She has interest, and she probably wants these pharmaceutical companies to get in the game first,
right? Because and then when we do talk about the aspect of crime and jailing people, she still wants to jail these dealers, right? Which makes no sense. But still, that creates an atmosphere where you're still filling up the jail cells. And like you said, we know that she likes the private prisons. So that they are interested in their bottom dollar and they still want these prisoners in the system.
Because, according to her, it's good for revenue in some cases, right?
Okay. She's full of it. But that's Debbie Wasserman-Schultz. So that was the end. I mean, that was that wasn't the end, but that was the highlights.
The highlights.
And really, that only happened in like the first 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, it was so thick.
Yeah,
within the first 15, 20 minutes. There was so much
meat. Yeah. Obviously, I think Tim Canova won the debate. I don't believe there's going to be another debate because Debbie Wasserman-Schultz really has nothing to gain by taking part in another debate. She doesn't want to expose herself. Come on, she put the debate at Sunday morning at 8:00.
Exactly.
Obviously, she doesn't want people looking.
And she's not used to having a challenger.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? So she's in a very interesting position.
Yeah. Something that, like I said, every time she's won.
I know you're very hesitant to use that word
because she's always gone uncontested, so it's not like a win. It's just like she's the only person on the Democratic side. So like I said, I think Tim Canova did an outstanding job. I think having someone like him in our United States Congress would be something beneficial for the nation and for Florida. So, if you haven't already done so, donate to the campaign. If you're in Florida, go out there and canvass, phone bank, face bank, do something, because Debbie Wasserman-Schultz needs to get going. She needs to get out now.